The workforce is ageing and workers over 60 are increasing in number at approximately 4 times the rate of other demographic groups, according to a 2012 report by Westfield and Wright. With an ageing community and fewer people coming through the ranks to replenish those seeking retirement, how will the Australian workforce develop in the future? Welcome to Good Business. I'm Kathy Davis, and today we're looking at changes in the workforce relating to the ageing population and developing skilled workers for the future. I'm joined on the panel today by regular guest Margie Hume, business expert from the University of Southern Queensland, and Michael O'Neill, National Seniors Australia CEO, to discuss the ageing population and the workforce. It's been 12 years since compulsory retirement was abolished from the Commonwealth Public Service and 9 years since national age discrimination legislation was introduced. These changes have allowed seniors to remain employed for longer. However, are our businesses taking advantage of this or forcing out the older demographic? Margie Hume, do you believe seniors are being offered equal opportunities in the workplace?
I guess the answer to that, Kathy, is more that business is not embracing the opportunity that the older workforce may provide them with, and that retraining opportunities and investing in an older workforce that is going to bring them experience and different views and different points of view is something that we're not embracing. So if you sort of turn it around, perhaps we are forcing them out in a way by not embracing them and embracing the experience that they can bring to the table.
Thanks, Margie. And Michael O'Neill, what are members of the National Seniors Association communicating to you in regard to seeking and obtaining employment?
Look, I think they're talking to us about the changing nature of ageing these days and what that means to employment. So at this time in 2013, the over 50s, over 60s, much different from over 50s, over 60s, over 70s of previous years. Folk much more active, actively seeking to remain in the workplace or returning to the workplace for a couple of reasons. I think the capacity that the savings that they've built up, their superannuation or their retirement nest egg, dwindled away a bit because of the GFC, cost of living pressures now. I think the penny dropping because around longevity, how long you're actually going to live, is becoming a much more significant issue for people. They're much more aware of that. So I think that kind of message is leading to folk wanting to remain in the workplace or return to it. Plus, I think given the different nature of seniors these days, they actually like work. They enjoy work. They enjoy the mental stimulation, the contact, the social context of work as well. So people actively looking to remain in, and for a significant proportion of people looking to return to the workforce as well.
From an employer point of view, are there misconceptions about hiring people over the age of 60?
Well, look, I think there continues to be a really significant lot of evidence around a key determinant being your date of birth. Mm-hmm. Ageism, discrimination based essentially on your date of birth being consistently the message that folk who've sought employment are identifying as their major impediment. And that, historically, we've thought about that applying to folk as they've got to 60 or 65. Reality is it's starting now in some industries back in the mid-40s, flowing through and becoming more significant as it flows on. The one, I think, really clear, simple statistic that indicates the challenge is the one around if you become unemployed at age 55, you will be out of work on average for about 72 weeks. Compare that to a person who loses their job in their mid-20s, they'll be out of work for about 23, 24 weeks. So just the difference of that says to me there remain significant challenges for older workers.
That's really serious. What's the National Seniors Association doing about that?
Well, I think there's a range of responses. I think within the legislative response, the discrimination area, government has certainly moved to deal with that. I think we've also seen government trying to provide a more level playing field for people as well, so that if they are in employment, they're treated exactly the same rather than what has historically been the case where you might get superannuation if you're a certain age, but not if you're a bit older. Those things have gone by the wayside. I think the other thing that we've been strongly trying to encourage is with industry to recognise the benefits of older workers. Margie touched on them briefly in terms of their ownership of task, their loyalty to business, their experience that they bring to task, capacity to mentor people. They take fewer sickies. So all those things collectively, I think, are the kind of strengths that are there. And we're certainly, I think, seeing some employers, some industries increasingly recognising that, hey, this is a valuable piece of workforce that we should be making better use of and trying to engage them more effectively.
And that's something that perhaps government should play a greater role in affecting.
Oh, look, I think there's certainly a role there for government to encourage it, to support it, to promote it. But we don't want government getting too far into it either. I mean, I think it's about encouraging and supporting. And there are certainly plenty of lessons that provide a foundation for encouraging business to do so. You've only got to go to the local hardware shop to Bunnings and the greyheads save your life there, Kathy.
Thanks, Michael. It's predicted that by 2050, there'll be only 2.7 workers for every citizen over 65 compared to 7.5 workers in the 1970s. So, Margie, do you believe that the workforce and economical stability rely heavily on the participation of seniors in the workforce?
Absolutely, no doubt. Being our largest cohort, in particular the baby boomers, as they're ageing, and they're certainly our largest demographic cohort, if we don't embrace and retrain and reskill and develop technological confidence and create more ability for these workers to maintain a place in the workforce, we will be really struggling with self-funded retirement and pensions, and there's so many economic issues that need to be considered if we don't embrace this level of or this cohort of the workforce. One of the big ones is the lifelong learning component and providing pathways to reskill and create opportunities that the older worker may not necessarily have previously been interested in. So absolutely embrace the boomers and the older group.
Thanks very much, Margie, and thanks, Michael. Next up, we take a look at what it takes to attract seniors back into the workforce and how businesses are responding to senior job seekers. Welcome back to Good Business. Today I'm joined by Michael O'Neill and Margie Hume to discuss the ageing workforce. Seniors are retiring at a later age, allowing businesses to take advantage of the high skill level and experience they provide. But are businesses really taking advantage of this, or is ageism still affecting employment for seniors? We spoke with Kathleen Newcomb, Head of Recruitment at Serena Russo, and Ian Beetham, a recently employed senior, to discuss recruitment and employment for seniors.
Kathleen Newcomb, and I'm the CEO of Russo Recruitment and Russo Education. We focus on ensuring that employers have the right staff in order to gain productivity levels that they need for their business to be successful. So really, our role is to match the job seekers with employers to maximise the opportunities for the employers, but also gain meaningful employment for the job seekers. There's been a lot of changes in the nature of people coming in seeking positions. People are staying in the workforce longer than they used to, and that baby boomer generation that in the past may have retired at the age of 55, 60, staying engaged in the workforce for a longer period. There are people who are wanting to re-engage, and they're coming back at a time where jobs are hard to find. So what we encourage a lot of those people to do is to focus on retraining, looking at what skill sets they need in order to prepare themselves for the current job market. Where are the jobs? Don't assume that the industry you used to work in is any longer employing. Look for the new industries, the emerging industries, and understand where the opportunities are. And to be market-led is the way I describe it.
My name's Ian Beetham. I'm 53 years old. I came from the bush in 1978. I was made redundant in 2002. I got a job making wheelbarrows for 7 years, and then I left there and I've been working casual. Since I joined Serena Russo, I've been working in the security industry.
I'm Letitia Little. I'm an employment consultant for Serena Russo Job Access in Nunda. Ian came to me, obviously a mature age candidate. When I first had Ian, his state of confidence was quite low, and it was a matter of getting him motivated again to find employment.
I wasn't expecting to be hired over a younger person, but when I was interviewed by my manager into the security industry, she said that one of the key things that we're actually looking for is long-term people, but people across the board with a mature age group that have had the life experiences that I've got.
He was so committed to the role and so committed to retraining that he was reliable, he was dedicated, he saw the opportunity for what it was and definitely gave 110% effort.
These are people who've engaged in the workforce, they understand what's involved, etc. But more than that, you're gaining their life experiences, and that adds value to the roles they're doing.
A good attitude towards your job and you enjoy what you do, that's half your battle. The career I'm in now is the first time I've actually enjoyed going to work. I'm happy to be working again, but it is a good career and it's a place I love working.
We actually gain a lot of joy, we gain a lot of benefit personally from being engaged in the workplace. If people keep themselves energetic, healthy, continue to engage and communicate, I don't think there's many limitations on the roles that they can do, because it's not about age, it's about attitude. And if you come with the right attitude, it doesn't matter whether you're 20 or 50, you'll do well.
Thanks to Kathleen Newcombe from Serena Russo and Ian Beetham for sharing their experiences. Michael, what information has the NSA gathered from its members in seeking employment?
Look, I think the key messages we've got from people are that they're looking for a level playing field, so being treated equally in the employment space. I think the second thing is a recognition that they have a lot to give, that as Kathleen indicated, the wisdom and experience that comes from a lifelong participation in the workplace is almost irreplaceable. So that's a great value add for business. I think the third thing is certainly much greater recognition now that you need to try and keep your skills current. So, you know, it's past the days of the typewriter. We're well advanced now. Ensuring your skills are current is part of ticking off those boxes for employers. I think perhaps the other thing is much greater recognition of the reliability and the contribution, the ownership of task that older workers do bring to the workplace.
Ian mentioned originally in his interview about a lack of confidence. Is that something that most seniors experience?
I think seniors, like anybody else, if you've been out of work for an extended period of time, and I'm thinking of our 55-year-old who may have been out for over 70 weeks, that's got to knock your confidence around. So it's about building yourself up again. I think the mature approach to that is much more capable of doing that. And we need to recognise and encourage and support people that they can deliver on that, because at 55 they may well have another 10 or 15 years employment ahead of them, given the trends these days for people to work longer. So that's a great asset there that I think we, as families and communities and business and indeed the nation, given the challenges of an ageing population, we can't afford to throw aside. We need to make the most of it.
You mentioned before about ageism. Are you seeing any change at all in employers' attitude towards employing seniors?
I think we are seeing some of the a number of the bigger industries, bigger business, starting to recognise that this is an asset and we need to make better use of it, often in non-traditional areas, but making the most of that asset I think has become increasingly important, primarily at the larger business level, but hopefully we'll see small and medium sizes starting to recognise those opportunities, and given the skill shortages that are faced in many industries, that will probably become a reality anyway.
Thanks very much, Michael. The Australian government used the intergenerational report to announce the importance of retaining the expertise of older Australians in the workforce and transferring it to younger Australians. Maintaining employment of seniors will help to soften the drastic decline in skilled workers due to early retirement. However, when the large ageing population retires, the workforce will need skilled younger workers. Next up, Apprenticeships Queensland gives us an insight into their work. You're watching Good Business. Apprenticeships Queensland is defining the strategy for training young tradespeople and imparting the skills needed to provide qualifications and introductions to the workforce. Anita Dwyer from Apprenticeships Queensland talks about their mission and introduces us to a host and apprentice paired by Apprenticeships Queensland.
Anita Dwyer, I'm the Marketing and Communications Officer at Apprenticeships Queensland. Apprenticeships Queensland's primary objective is to train the tradies of the future. So it's about building up a skilled workforce, and as a group training company we have the opportunity to give young people a broad range of skills while we're looking after their apprenticeship over the 4 years. Our recruitment process is a big part of making sure that we can achieve the objective of training tradies of the future. We have very enthusiastic applicants. Over the last 3 or 4 months we go to all the schools looking at their Year 12s, talking to them about their career options so that they start their apprenticeship as soon as they finish school and work through that process. These days apprenticeships are becoming very specific because of the costs attached to business and the fact that they want to be very productive and very profitable. Sometimes in a workplace you get a very specific set of skills that they're looking for, not the broad range that an apprenticeship does give you. With a mature host who's got those broad range of skills, they're able to upskill an apprentice or train an apprentice across that broad range of skills, whereas sometimes if they go into a particular workplace and they only do a certain type of task, that's where group training and what we do give young people an opportunity to get a broad range of skills because we can move them from one host employer to another.
I'm Alec Nissen and I'm the owner or partner with my wife in Nissen Welding Industries, a business we started 42 years ago. We saw a need to employ apprentices and found out that it was the most suitable way to get people who fitted into the field and fitted the criteria that we were looking for. We have 4 at the moment. We just employ the people directly from Apprenticeships Queensland, and then it's up to us then to find work for them.
Shane McLaren, I'm 20. I'm employed by Apprenticeships Queensland and hosted by Nissen Welding. They actually got onto me. I lost my job with a previous employer and then they put my details on the internet and they found me. They just called me up and they told me to come and sign a few papers and I started the next day. Yeah, it's good. It's a bit different, the large variety of work that I get to do. Most of them have experience. Things have changed from when they did it, so I can learn a bit of the new stuff and a bit of the old stuff of how they've done it too.
Well, there is always a natural attrition as people get older and retire, so we always need new people, younger people coming in that we can pass the skills on to them before we do retire and do leave the workforce. Otherwise there will be a gap in the skills. I guess it's mainly the years of experience and the knowledge that you pick up over those years, and we can pass them off onto the young folks that they then can be successful through their working life.
And that was the Apprenticeships Queensland strategy to ensure a stable future Australian workforce in the trades. Margie, do you believe businesses such as Apprenticeships Queensland are going to affect the levels of skilled workers in the future?
Absolutely. There's no doubt that sharing knowledge, especially under the program that they do where they host apprenticeships, apprentices and they move them around, that there is this fantastic opportunity to share knowledge from different organisations so that they create a greater skill set than being in the one place for the period of time of their apprenticeship. I think the interesting thing with skilling workers as well, it doesn't just apply to youth. Apprenticeships are basically a training ground for a field of work. And depending on whether that's a physical field of work or a not so physical field of work, there's opportunities there to skill up all workers in the workforce through an apprenticeship and hosting program.
Why should employers be encouraged to train apprentices?
Oh, I guess there's economic reasons, there's also social reasons that the reality is that we pass on knowledge and we impart knowledge onto those that come behind us. as we leave the workforce or change professions, those skills need to be passed on, and pathways learning and apprenticeships are ways of socially, from a social conscious perspective, passing those on. Irrespective of the fact of learning curves, the more we pass on skills, the more people learn from those skills, learning curves become flatter and we become a more productive nation. One of the strongest economic indicators of the health of a country is the level of the skilled workforce that it owns and has. So if we don't have programs like Apprenticeship Queensland and apprenticeships, we will actually minimise those skills that we have and perform poorly as a country.
Thanks, Margie. Michael, do you think that youths have a lot to learn before they can replace the well-skilled employees of the 60-plus demographic?
Oh, look, I think the reality of a lifetime of work means that you build up such a strong knowledge and capacity that you can't replace that overnight. But equally, I think there's a great recognition that with young people also comes a whole lot of other skills, a whole lot of other energies, a whole lot of other approaches to work, a capacity to take up technology and so forth. So I think there's the mix that we need to find there is that energy and enthusiasm and desire to learn amongst young people, along with the skills and knowledge and the experience that's gathered across a lifetime of work. So combining the two, I think that's the way to go.
Finally, we'll take a look at some tips from our experts on today's show for seniors and businesses alike. Some great tips there from our guests Kathleen Newcomb and Anita Dwyer. Margie, can I get your final words regarding the ageing workforce?
I think the most important thing for employers to realise about the ageing workforce is they are a productive group of workers, that age should not define their level of productivity, that we should be looking at what they bring to the organisation. Also be investing in retraining and reskilling. I've worked within an ageing workforce for quite a number of years, and older workers are calm, they're mature, they're logical, there's not a lot of gossip. You know, they're a very productive member of the workforce, and we need to embrace them as such. Retrain, reskill and appreciate would be my comments about the ageing workforce.
Thanks, Margie. And Michael, a final word or two from you.
I think the reality is we have an ageing population, we have a reducing workforce. At some point we're going to be under a lot of pressure being able to maintain the nation and its public services. I think older workers have a great role to play there, both financially but also socially, in being able to mentor and encourage younger workers, show them the benefits of experience. And I guess my message to employers would be very much around, you don't want to think about it in that social context or national context. Think about it in the context of the value that an older worker can add to your business. Because at the end of the day, it's older workers who can deliver money to your bottom line.
Thank you. Well, this has been another informative episode of Good Business. Investigation reveals that prevention of the threat of an ageing workforce can be avoided by committing to re-entering seniors into the workplace and upskilling the youth sector. Young employees are filtering into the workforce, and when integrated with senior aged workers, this initiative will create balance via new skills and well-honed experience. This introduces an atmosphere of productivity and learning, with senior aged workers sharing knowledge with younger employees. Coming up next week on Good Business, we're focusing on customer service and its importance in the business world. I'm Kathy Davis. Thank you for watching Good Business.